Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. Welcome to the Cortez City Council regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 10th, 2021, and it's 7:30 p.m. Would you please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
That's too much shine.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. The mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have specific items removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Either the public or council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time prior to the council's vote. First item is approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of July 27, 2021. B, approval of the expenditure voucher of August 10th, 2021. C, approval of the renewal liquor license for Two Bros Ltd. DBA Cork and Bottle located at 443 East Main Street, Cortez. D, approval of renewal tavern liquor license for Cortez Elks Lodge 1789 Incorporated. DBA Cortez Elks 1789. Located at 2100 North Dolores Road, Cortez. E, approval of renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for Cashmian LLC, DBA Lots of Pasta and That's a Pasta, That's a Pizza, located at 435 East Main Street, Cortez. F, approval of an outdoor dining agreement and renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for Blondie's Trophy Room LLC, DBA Blondie's Trophy Room, located at 45 East Main Street, Cortez.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Medina.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kiefhofer.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is citizen participation. We have down 6 citizens will be allotted time to address council. No member of the public shall comment more than once at any meeting, nor shall any person be seated the time of another commenter. Comments may be limited to 4 minutes per person. Please comment on items not listed as public hearing. Council may or may not respond to comments. If there's a subject that some groups have in common, we'd like to maybe have a spokesperson for that group come forward and speak for that group rather than having multiple people speaking on the same subject. We'll open this up for citizen participation now. Who would like to speak first? Yes, ma'am. Go up to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Is the microphone green? Okay, make sure that's on.
There we go.
Thank you.
520 East 3rd Street here in Cortez, Colorado. Right now, we have a pocket park across the street from our house, which my children who are here in support and many others love and adore. It gets played in often. There was a survey recently done over the last spring break, which I call the COVID spring break because no one really went outside. Here in town, the weather was still not that great. There was snow, it was cold. I know I didn't let my kids go out. The survey was to see how active the park was because they wanted to put in a community garden. I am all for gardens and community gardens. My sons participated in several projects to help them, volunteered at Fonzie's farm, so trust me, I'm not against parks or gardens combining. This one is just not the best combination due to how small it is and how much it gets used by the local kids that can't go across Main Street on their own to go play at the bigger parks. So as much as I've been completely opposed to this garden, after looking at their website and seeing that it's called Common Ground, my kids and I tried to find some. So we started our own petition for playground equipment to be put in at the park. Since they started the garden, when they dug up the grass, we were kind of sad because they didn't try and save it and reuse it somewhere else. They just tore it out. The kids started riding their bikes in the dirt lot over the stakes and over the strings. As soon as they brought in the soil to get used, the kids started riding their bikes over the big dirt pile that was there. So the kids will literally play on anything that is there because they don't have anything. So there's 25 signatures from the neighborhood that we've brought in front of you, and there's an additional 50 online for an open .org petition to get playground equipment. I ask that you do look into the fact that the garden will be fenced in and locked on private property using the water that's there to water the park, and we all pay our park taxes. So I'm not sure how that goes. That's not my specialty in life. It is something that's concerning for the neighborhood because we know how our park is and the people that wander through sometimes and how destructive they can be. So the garden could pose a target. Playground equipment is nailed down and pretty sturdy, kind of made for some of that stuff. I did hear they were planning on putting in a security camera, which I find mixed feelings about. If you're gonna put it in to watch a garden that's technically private property, why wouldn't you put one in to watch over the kids that play there all the time? So that's all we really have to say. We just want a place for the kids to play. Thank you all for your time this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Are there any representatives from the Common Ground Garden people? Go ahead, go up to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Heidi, where are those brochures? They're up? Okay. Good evening. I'm Reed Bruger, and I live at 340 East Montezuma Avenue in Cortez. And I am a volunteer with Common Ground Cortez Community Gardens. Our mission is to provide space where community members can help each other grow healthy food. We are a project of the Good Samaritan Center Food Pantry and work in association with the City of Cortez Parks and Rec Department. It's safe to say that our community gardens wouldn't exist without the city's support. We are very grateful for that support. The brochure you've received details reasons why community gardens deserve local governmental support. And I'd like to go over 8 of those reasons. First is a very obvious one. They provide an affordable way to add fresh, healthy foods to your diet. But this, of course, comes with a warning. Gardening is not a couch potato thing. A few years ago, I spoke at the Rotary and was discussing how we were going to fill the empty slots that had come up over the winter. And people were wondering, well, why do you have people leaving? And Bob Bragg, who I'm sure many of you know, said, well, gardening's hard work. I'm sure they weren't ready for it. Well, of course gardening is hard work, but it also requires careful planning and constant attention. 30 minutes of gardening a day fulfills the U.S. Surgeon General's daily quota of moderate exercise for an adult. Our association with the Parks and Rec is a great match. Community gardening promotes a healthy lifestyle. That is the Cortez brand. Neighborhood community gardens like 3rd Street also provide more eyes on the street, reducing petty and serious crime. A 4th reason is community gardens are cross-generational and multicultural meeting places. They create a stronger community. I'm hoping that the Third Street Garden will provide children enrolled in the Manos School's Farm to School program an opportunity to share their garden know-how with their families. On the subject of education, a community garden is a living classroom. County Extension Agent Greg Felson hopes to have a garden workshop there regularly, expanding on workshops already taking place at Good Samaritan Center and Common Ground at the Rec. A sixth reason is garden soil is very effective at absorbing moisture, reducing runoff, and minimizing erosion. One of the neighbors of the garden is very concerned about that issue, and I wish she was here. I did research it, and that is what the facts say. Community gardens can also be integrated into broader community projects. Since its beginning, Common Ground at the Rec has shared its harvest with Good Sam's Food Pantry. We've donated over 800 pounds of fresh organic vegetables to the food pantry. Each year, more gardeners donate some of their harvest, so it's safe to say that by the end of 2021, we will have donated over half a ton of produce, and not all of it is zucchinis. With all these things going on for community gardens, it's easy to understand why a community garden can increase property values in the surrounding neighborhood. Our small footprint of 1,350 square feet, yes, it's 45 by 30 feet, takes up less than 7% of the total area of the 3rd Street Pocket Park. But you can see it will make an outsized positive impact on the entire neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak? Would you go up to the podium and state your name and address, please?
I'm Carolyn Hoff at 409 North Beach Street. The Common Ground Cortez Garden has been a big help for me physically, mentally, and nutritionally. Raising a garden there got me out first on a walker, and now I've advanced to just a cane in about 3 years. My success in growing fresh vegetables to supplement my diet has helped me eat better meals. My mind has also grown in both happy and healthy, and it has taken work and been a learning experience that I can recommend to anyone, any human, to improve their life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goff. Any other comments? Public? Yes, sir. Go up to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Yes, I'm Kent Lindsay, Montezuma County Commissioner. Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
We come to you with a concern that has cropped up in our community. Redistricting of our state by the State Redistricting Committee, whoever that is, has decided to split Montezuma County right down the middle. This is going to affect a lot of different people. First and foremost, our county clerk. She's going to have to prepare at least 2 times, maybe 3 times the amount of ballots she generally does. It'll require split ballots in the hospital district, fire district, and school districts also. It'll also split our watershed, be represented by 2 representatives in Congress, in our state Congress, rather than here. Last night we received support from Dolores, and we're going to ask Mancus, and we're asking you for a letter of support not to redistrict Montezuma County in half. So we'd appreciate your help. And our local expert here, Rachel, in our GIS department, she can give you more exact maps than I can tonight. And she can help us along the way, and hopefully we can coordinate this and keep Montezuma County whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay.
And I'll just want to make a quick comment. So there was a letter written asking for the commissioners to sign, and they had the idea to include the municipality. So if you could get with Shaq on that.
I will contact Mr. Lindsay in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other citizen comments? Yes, sir. Would you go up to the podium and state your name and address, please?
Thank you, and thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Alan Mays. I actually live out in the county, 21693 County Road 21 in Lewis. But I do know that things that the City Council decides on do have an impact for the whole community, not just the town of Cortez. I want to echo what Commissioner Lindsay just said. It is very important that we look at redistricting. Individually, you can go to coloradoredistricting.com, Google that, and you can add online comments to make that decision. I do agree that Montezuma County should stay whole. We are a community here that recognizes our issues, and that is something that we would be recognized as being part of a agricultural community. That's a very important part in Montezuma County. The watersheds are very important. Mancos watershed, Dolores watershed, that impacts City of Cortez, and that should be considered very much so. The school districts that get split, divided with a line that is arbitrary, that has to be considered as well. So I want to thank you for listening to that. The other, and I don't know if it's going to have an opportunity for public comment when you look at the appointment for the BOAA position that's coming up on the agenda. So I'll ask, is there going to be an opportunity to speak about that, or can I make a comment now?
Reed, do you have any input on that? On having a discussion on the Board of Adjustments nomination?
Yeah, that wouldn't be in order right now.
Okay.
It would or would not? I'm sorry.
It would not.
Okay, thank you. So there will be an opportunity at that time? Will there be an opportunity at that time, though, during the discussion of the BOAA appointment?
Yes, that would be more appropriate is during that time.
Okay.
But just bear with me through the rest of the meeting, and you'll maybe see why that won't be necessary, at least tonight.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
We'll cover that later on, Alan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Okay, are there any other citizens that wish to speak tonight? Okay, I don't see any.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could I make just a kind of a comment about the first part of the discussion here? Just that, I don't know if anybody else heard it, maybe it was just me, but it seems like there is common ground, pun intended, maybe, that what Ms. Kennedy spoke about was that less of an opposition really to the park, but more of making the park friendly for students in terms, or kids in terms of a playground situation. And I'll just say that as someone who lives close to Montezuma Park, I have really enjoyed the new bandstand, and it's there for the public, and I sort of feel like we need to maybe start looking at all of the parks and really kind of chunking that out. To me personally, and this is my opinion, and we're not in an official capacity here voting on anything, but I think that it is a shame that, you know, we have a park that maybe isn't being utilized by kids because there isn't playground equipment there. So to me personally, it feels like both things can happen, and both things would be beneficial to the citizens of Cortez. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, the next item on the agenda is we're going to honor a former council person, former police officer, Sue Betts. Would the police officers and all those wishing to honor Sue walk over to the portrait of Sue on the east side of the city council chambers, please? Thank you. I'll read a brief talk about Sue. Sue Betts began her career with the Cortez Police Department on July 5th, 1983 as a patrol officer. On August 5th, 1991, Sue was promoted to corporal, and on February 12th, 1996, Sue was promoted to patrol sergeant. On February 8th, 2010, Sue transferred to the Drug Task Force and worked as a Drug Task Force agent for the next 2.5 years before she retired on October 1st, 2012. Sue was fondly referred to as Mama Sue and the Hammer, and I'm sure the police officers could fill us in on the reasoning behind her nicknames. Sue was elected to Cortez City Council on April 24th, 2018, and served on the council until she passed on August 13, 2020. Sue is greatly missed by her family and friends, and today, August 10th, 2021, we honor Sue with the hanging of her picture in City Council chambers. Sue is in her City of Cortez police uniform and holding her special bird, an African gray parrot named Chaz, who had a vocabulary of over 400 words. Thank you, Sue, for your commitment to our community. Andy, would you care to make any comments, please?
Sue was, she was one of my training officers when I first got hired 26 years ago. So I worked quite a bit with Sue. She had one unique quality is you could contact a driver, you could contact a vehicle, and she would walk up and stick her head in the car and come back and tell you that there were drugs in the car. We would go to a house and unrelated to something, and she'd walk out of the house and her eyes would be running and stuff like that, and I would ask what was wrong, and she said, "There's drugs in that house." And she was hypersensitive to drugs. So all the time I was around Sue, I could never do that. I had to get a dog. But Sue was incredible with that. It was kind of funny, and we would watch her work, and I don't know that she ever missed it. She was never wrong when she said there's drugs in a car, there's drugs in a house, somebody's got drugs on them. She just had that knack, sensitive thing. Another thing, she was referred to as the Hammer, and I think Sergeant Martinez may have been the one who dubbed that one on her, and she would get fierce in the sergeant's office, and she would put it to you and make sure you were doing your work and getting out there and doing the job, and couldn't hardly budge her. And so we called her the Hammer, and it was affectionately called her the Hammer, and I think she enjoyed it. I think probably one of the biggest lessons I learned from her is when she was a sergeant, she would fight for the patrolmen like crazy. She fought with us, don't get me wrong, but she fought for us and secured us. She often said that, once you get out of patrol and you're in administration, you don't know what the heck you're doing, and I gotta agree, I understand what she's talking about now. So she was always that go-between person, and anytime anything came down, she blocked it and she protected all of us. So she was very highly thought of in that regard. So we certainly missed her.
Thank you, Andy. Anyone else would like to speak in honor of Sue?
Hi, I'm Detective Tom Quinnett with the Cortez PD. I had the pleasure of working with Sue for over a decade, and one thing in particular that I recall that is pretty funny about Sue is she loved to snag warrants from us other officers. So how the incident would go down is our officers would call in and say, "Can you check so-and-so for wants and warrants?" Dispatch would come back and they would say, "Affirmative, that subject has 2 warrants." Then the officer would get on the radio and say, All right, well, I last saw him at Mildred and Maine. I'm going to go back and see if I can find him. Sue would rush over there as quick as she could, and you would hear her come on, and she would say, disregard, I'm out with that subject. Level 15, you can disregard. And off to jail they would go. So Sue loved doing that. I can't tell you how many times she did it. So it was an honor to work with her.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? None or Sue?
I'm Mike Marston, retired Cortez police officer. I worked with Sue for a number of years, and I have one memory I'd like to share. Back when the Claxon homicide happened, Sue and I ended up in a roadblock down by Ismay Trading Post. We spent probably 5 to 6 hours down there, just the two of us in case they come through that side road. We didn't have any water. So it hot until finally some young people came by and asked us if we needed anything. We said, if you get us some water. They drove all the way back into Cortez, got us some pints of water, and brought it back down to us. But we were there for the majority of the day. And she was right beside us. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? See, I knew Sue very well. I was her mailman for about 12 years. I used to come by when she was at home on her lunch hour, and we'd stand at the front door talking, and she'd tell me about her day, and I'd tell her about my day, and I could hear her bird, Chaz, in the background squawking and trying to dominate the conversation. And I really fond memories of that. And of course, her dogs used to love mailman coming by and welcomed us every day that I come by. And Sue was a really good friend of mine. I was honored to serve with her on the council, and we very much miss her. She was a great person and a credit to Cortez and the police department and the city council. And thank you very much for gentlemen and ladies for honoring Sue today. And we're going to have her sister hang the picture of her on our wall now.
I just want to say something real quick there,
Yes,
Mike.
go ahead.
I was going to say too, I served with her in council. We had our good discussions and fair discussions, but she's a good lady, and one thing she did support was her troops. So.
Thank you. Do we have a photographer? Okay. Thank you very much for coming tonight and honoring Sue and Sue's sister. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Hi, my name is Shirley Sidoris, and I'm from Beulah, Colorado. Sorry, it's emotional.
Okay.
I can't tell you how much it means that you honored her. Sue was great as far as being a sister, a family member, a mother, a grandmother. She loved this community probably more than any of you will ever realize. She loved the police officers. She loved the children. And when we were going through her things, it was very heartwarming as we would meet people here in Cortez. And almost everyone that we met had a story where she had helped their son or their daughter or stopped them for speeding or something like that. But it was very heartwarming to see how she really affected the lives of people in this community. She loved it like no other. And thank you for giving her this honor.
Thank you very much. Okay. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation. I'm going to read a proclamation. The city of Cortez is going to celebrate the day of 8/13/21. And I'll read this proclamation now. The citizens of Cortez, Colorado, are urged to celebrate the honoring of once-in-a-century occurrence for the United States Post Office location of Cortez, Colorado of 81321 zip code, matching the calendar date of August 13th, 2021, labeled as Date Meets Zip Station, and thereby offering a pictorial commemorative cancellation stamp available to the citizens starting on this date. Whereas the citizens should spend their tax dollars locally and celebrate Cortez by showing their support for local businesses. Whereas the citizens are urged to take advantage of the specials in Cortez from the retailers and restaurants, as well as fundraising support for local organizations on this unique day. Now, therefore, I, Michael J. Levy, Mayor of the City of Cortez, do hereby proclaim 81321 Day as the citizens of Cortez celebrate the lifestyle of Southwest Colorado and support and appreciate our local businesses bring to our community not only on 8/13/21, but on every day of the year. Witnessed by my hand this 10th day of August 2021. And I'll sign this, Michael J. Levy, Mayor. So we're honoring Cortez and the zip code on this date. Thank you. And their stamps will be available, commemorative stamps, at the Cortez Post Office commemorating this event. It's once in a lifetime thing. Okay. Next item, public hearings are none, no unfinished business. Under new businesses, out-of-city water tap and pre-annexation agreement with Joe D. and Charma D. Gray. Director of Public Works, Phil Johnson, please. Good evening, Phil.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening. Once again, I'm before you bringing a request for an out-of-city water tap. This was a developed site which is adjacent to Animas Street on the east side of North Mildred. The homeowner built their site and put in a well, and it did not produce. So we have water availability on Mildred that they can tap off of. They'll be paying the out-of-city water tap rate, which is a 50% additional charge on top of the $5,844.30, bringing the charge to $8,766.45, and a required backflow prevention device will be required, as all water taps within the city or outside the city are necessitated to utilize. The Montezuma Water Company, which is the other water provider in the area, does not provide this, does not serve the area, and has no intention of providing service there. So we are the only option and have the availability to do so.
Thank you, Phil. Are there any questions or comments from the council? No? Okay. Can I have a motion on this item, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve an out-of-city water tap and pre-annexation agreement with Joe and Sharma Gray for property located at 10820 County Road 26.
Second.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Okay, the next item on the agenda is appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Council will consider appointing a new member of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Linda, will we be taking a silent vote on that, or how are we going to do that?
Mayor
Just
Levy,
what he
we
can
would
do
need
is
a motion
a
accordingly, if that's what you guys would like to do. I'm prepared for whichever way you want to work that.
Okay. Drew, do you have a comment?
Yeah, it's my understanding that some of the council perhaps would like to have a silent ballot on this. If that is the will of the council, we are prepared to make that happen.
Okay. Okay, let's do that.
But I believe we'd need a motion to make that happen.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to use the silent ballot process to vote on the position for Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
If you would please fold them in half and then a half again so that they're all the same, and we'll pick them up and read them. Whichever.
Left to right or upside down?
I want to remind everyone that when we decide on the person for this Planning and Zoning Commission, will be contingent upon successful completion of a background check. Okay, you can put your ballots in front.
We would need four vote for nominate, or four, I'm sorry, circled, so that it would meet at the quorum. If not, we'll have to vote again, but I will just read them. No random order. Jim Svorek. Jim Svorek. Jim Svorek. Jim Svorek. Alan Ralston. And Katrina Weiss. We do have 4 votes for Jim Svorek, but we would need a motion from council for that.
Can I have a motion on that?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jim Swark to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term.
Second.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jim. Yes, we will. Thank you. Good evening. Okay, the next item on the agenda is appointment to the Board of Adjustments and Appeals. See, we have some more items to discuss, and I talked to city manager about this, and I'd like to table this until a later date for further discussion.
That would be appropriate, Mr. Mayor. And as you and I discussed, I think part of the reason for this is we expect at least 2 other appointments perhaps, or at least candidates for that. And just to make everything concurrent and smooth, it would just be nice to table it tonight and then consider it all as a whole, if that's the will of the council.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this item will be tabled till later.
Could we have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table the appointment to the Board of Adjustments and Appeals.
Second.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina, Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye, thank you. Next item, there any city attorney reports? No. City manager report?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, I do have a report for you this evening. The three top topics for the last 3 weeks that the city staff has been working on, and my office as well. Today, a big topic, ClearGov, which is the new budgeting and transparency system that we have got online to help us with our upcoming process. The department heads and the administrative staff members engaged in a training session this morning to learn how to use ClearGov as our new budgeting software. This is a very powerful tool that will help simplify our budgeting process while making the process more accessible to both council members and the public. I'm excited to roll out the online transparency module for this, which will solicit input from our residents on budget priorities well in advance of an appropriation ordinance being presented to council in October. So that's going to give us more time and more accessibility for our community members. Number 2 would be Region 9. I had the opportunity to attend the Region 9 Economic Development meeting in Durango, and I was frankly very impressed with how professional the meeting was run, planned, and administered. I attended with Finance Director Kelly Koski, who is a board member of Region 9. It is impressive to note how much occurs behind the scenes on behalf of our local businesses in the way of direct loans and other services that help bolster businesses and either create or retain jobs in our community. And number 3, the Balloon Festival this weekend. I had the privilege of not only attending but participating in that as a, I don't know if I was a skilled ground crew member, but I was certainly a ground crew member. And just something that's a real asset to our community. This was a very well-planned event that received a lot of support from the community. I had the opportunity to interact with several of the pilots and ground crew and was pleased to hear all the positive comments that they had about our community. Many of the comments were in praise of our park and the friendliness and willingness to help of our community members, which is an asset, I think. Many of the comments, I personally encountered out-of-town visitors from as far away as Richmond, Virginia, who became aware of the festival and literally rerouted their trip to New Mexico to come to Cortez. This is just, in my mind, the latest example of a long list of great events hosted here in Cortez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Drew. Next item on the agenda is City Council committee reports. Are there any reports from the City Council?
I have a report from the Historic Preservation Board. I attended the Historic Preservation Board meeting last week, and there were a couple topics. The main topic is, one is reaching back out to the owners of properties that could potentially be on the historic registry, possibly ones who maybe bought a property and don't know that they're even eligible. So the idea is to reach back out to people to see if they'd be interested in listing their house on the Cortez, listing eligible houses on the Cortez Historic Registry. And also, we saw the preliminary work from the new survey that is from a grant from History Colorado, and it kind of expands out beyond the original town site. So it includes some interesting newer stuff, some of the commercial buildings that are historic and kind of the like 1950s, 1960s Americana highway stuff, as well as the opportunity for potentially for houses throughout all the other neighborhoods of Cortez as well.
I'll read the mayor's report on the workshop. At 6:30, we had a presentation of the Veterans Park Memorial, and a representative from the local veterans group gave a presentation on the proposed addition to the Veterans Park Memorial, including walkways around that and possible commemorative wall to protect the memorial from the street noise on Main Street. So we listened to that presentation. We had a discussion on the food truck, and we interviewed for the Board of Adjustment and Appeals. And are there any other comments?
Oh, I was just going to say, I would like to congratulate our new librarian.
Who is it? Phil?
Phil Johnson, You're welcome. Welcome.
I was just going to ask on this 3rd Street Park, are we just going to let staff handle it? Or how are you going to proceed on that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. Call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.